I believe we are live. So I want to pop on here. I spent the morning inside of a container with a bunch of other powerful women, and I'm feeling so activated, so inspired. Hello to anyone who's on here. I am so inspired by women who are determined to continue to love despite so many hardships, despite so many struggles, are determined to heal their ancestral patterning and to not settle. Now, I was the queen of settling. In fact, I used to, in all vulnerability, I used to sleep with men I wasn't even attracted to. I dated a man, and I found out, I know this is going to sound so weird, but I was involved with a man. I was getting to know a man, and then I found out that he was actually born a woman. That didn't feel right to me completely, but I was so afraid to hurt his feelings that I continued to date him. And I don't really want to get much into that, but I will in my upcoming masterclass, in how important it is as women for us to use our voices and to be honest, so that we don't find ourselves in situations where we are shrinking ourselves, where we are choking our own voices out, where we are settling for less than what we really want. Because as feminine beings, we are so powerful. We're so powerful. And when we use that energy in a beautiful way, not to manipulate at all, but in a beautiful God-designed way, we have the power and the ability to change the entire world. So I wanted to pop on here and talk about rigorous honesty, about our truth and how important it is for us to honor our truth, to use our voices and speak clearly and directly about our truth, being rigorously honest. I feel like in this world, it's almost frowned upon in some ways to be rigorously honest. So I'm in a 12-step program, and I have been for about 19 years now. And in that program, we talk about rigorous honesty as a value, as a way of life. We have got to be rigorously honest with ourselves, because when we are really looking at reality from the vantage point of reality, of the honest truth, not fantasy, not distraction, not escapism, but when we're really, really looking at the truth of a situation, even though it might be hard, even though it might be painful, therein lies the ability for things to change. Because if we don't have awareness, if we don't start from truth, then we are not going to actually get to the end point, so to speak. So I'm really wanting to communicate the importance of rigorous honesty and speaking the truth, being direct with people, with love. There needs to be love. Like the Bible says, if there is not love, then you are just a sounding gong and you are just a clanging cymbal if you do not speak with love. So love has to be threaded in with truth. So how do we learn how, for some of us, and then this isn't all of us, but for some of us, it can be really difficult to speak in certain situations. There was a time when I felt so choked out and I had such a hard time speaking that my face used to turn as bright red as my jumpsuit. I literally was paralyzed with fear and trembling and could not get things out of my throat. And I would not take certain classes in high school and in college if I found out that there was going to be some kind of an oral report, because I was so afraid to be seen. I was so afraid to just be in front of someone and just be myself. I was so ashamed of my own self. I mean, it's crazy, but I used to be ashamed of just going to the bathroom in elementary school, of my own bodily functions. And I would hurt myself by holding in my need to relieve myself until I got home. And then I would finally use the bathroom because I was so ashamed of just the simple things that my body naturally does. So my shame runs deep. My sort of inclination to think that what I have to say is not worthwhile runs deep, where I was not talking, and in order to find some level of confidence in myself, I started drinking as a young girl really early. And there I found the ability to relax and be confident. But over time, I developed a very serious addiction to alcohol, and I'm going to get into this story in my upcoming masterclass, which is going to be all about rigorous honesty and truth, and how to find your voice, and how to find your honest desires, and how to believe that you get to have what it is that you want, and how to differentiate and discern what are our real needs versus what maybe we don't actually need, or what are God-given desires versus maybe some desires that might not actually be that good for us. This is why I will say to the women I work with, and I will remind myself, God, break my heart for what breaks yours, and align my heart and my mind and my soul to be aligned with what is good for me, good for the planet, good for everyone. And help me to have your desires planted in my heart, Lord, because your desires are far even more magnificent than even my own desires for myself are. So God, align my needs, my wants, my desires with what you have for me. So in this upcoming masterclass, which is on Friday, May 9th at 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, I live in Hawaii, I am going to be talking all about truth and honesty, and how that invites in legendary love. If you are someone that wants legendary love, then this masterclass is for you. I'm going to be bringing it. I'm going to be sharing a lot of my experience of how I have gone from someone who was painfully addicted to alcohol and food. I had a severe eating disorder. I used to suffer with panic attacks, migraines. I was painfully insecure for so long, like I shared. I did not venture out to explore a career using my gifts as a talented artist and singer until well into my 40s. Thankfully now, I actually just performed the other night in a restaurant. I was singing. And thankfully for about 15, 16, 17 years now, I've actually been a freelance artist and been able to use my creativity. But it wasn't until later on in life that I started pursuing my creative endeavors, because that's when my healing journey began. So my healing journey began when I was 29 years old, and there's been a lot of unlearning and unraveling, and thankfully I'm no longer afflicted with an eating disorder and migraines and panic attacks and alcoholism and food addiction and so many things. I have not been married, but so much has been healing in regards to my relationship with how I feel about love and my role as a feminine being in relationship. And God has been blowing my mind, educating me and repatterning my insides to reflect that of his nature. And what has been happening is far beyond anything I could have even imagined. I mean, it was a little more than a year ago that I was sort of dating a man that did not have a home, did not have a car. I invited him to sleep in my car because he had no place to go. And I was like, you can't sleep out in the park. And I was paying for most of the stuff. And I realized that I was still operating and functioning in a pattern of overgiving, of settling for less than what I wanted. And when I finally got honest with myself and was like, I don't want this anymore. I want a man who's going to provide for me. I want to be resting in my femininity, and I want a masculine man I want a successful, masculine, solid, stable, sturdy, high value, emotionally available man that has his freaking shit together, who's not sleeping in my car, who could possibly buy me a car. And that's what I want. And so how do I become that woman? So I decided to take some time off of dating and just say, God, restore me and heal me. And I have been on quite an adventure since then. And now, after a little more than a year, my very first dating experience as this new embodied feminine woman who's still on a journey, my first date was with a emotionally available, wonderful man, emotionally stable, emotionally available, articulate, knows how to communicate, has been on his own journey, has a house, has a car, paid for all of the dates. I didn't have to pay for anything. I even offered and he said nope. Put gas in my car. Really has about 90% of what I want in a man, but I still feel like there's just that last 10% that I need to find within myself. And so I recently just communicated very honestly with this man even and let him go, which is a miracle actually. And so I just want to share my experience in this masterclass and just create a space for anyone who has ever struggled with overfunctioning, settling, striving, chasing, and just really wants to invite in legendary love, but maybe feels like they've kind of hit like a little bit of a ceiling and they're looking for just something. They're just looking for something to kind of click them into the next level. I don't have all the answers at all. I'm not going to make something cost $3,000 for you to get my codes. I just want to offer this as a space to just share what I have been given because I'm so grateful. And I feel like what I have gone through, which is a lot, which I have willingly gone through, can benefit because there have been people in my life that have gone before me that shared about where they were and how God has helped them. And then I heard their story and then it helped me have the faith to know that if that person could have that, but started from here, then I could too. So I'm not coming from this place of, hey, I'm doing everything perfect and all you gotta do is this and then you'll have that. No, I'm coming from, like I had mentioned, severe eating disorder and addiction and unbelievable insecurity and lack of self-confidence. I mean, I've never been married and I'm almost 49 years old, if that speaks of anything about how hard it has been for me to finally know that I'm worthy of love and to stop the overfunctioning and to finally lean back into my feminine core. And I'm grateful because I have a lot to share of actual tangible experience that I have had of having victory over not just one thing or two things or three things, but a myriad of a lot of things, which just gives me the ability to have humility, kindness, and reverence for God's immense grace and mercy, and that God just wants to deliver all of us from our own bondage and suffering and bring us into this legendary love that we can all have, and to understand that this love, it really begins with knowing how loved we are by God, and then that coming in and filling us up, and then we just get to be love. And the ultimate goal is not marriage or the ring or the partner or the person. It's really understanding that this is a spiritual journey, and your partner that you attract into your life for a moment, for a month, for a lifetime is a mirror for you to either realize that you're settling and leave, or that this person's going to trigger you and then you get to see what you get to work on. But that we are all here essentially to help one another if we can look at it from that lens and to stop the freaking finger pointing. So I am going to be facilitating a masterclass on May 9th It is at 3 p.m. That's a Friday. It is completely free. There will be no replay. So if you want to join, be there at 3 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, and I have the whole breakdown of all the time zones. If you click on the link in my bio, it's going to show you like 10 different time zones so that you can see if your schedule is going to permit you to be able to be in this space. And the reason why I want to push people toward being in the space is because I feel like, well, God is in the present moment and healing happens in the present moment. So I encourage you, if you can, to come into this space on May 9th, on Friday. You don't want to miss this, because I know amazing things are going to happen. And I'm going to be just sharing, like I said, even more of my story that I even shared here. I'm going to open it up for some reflection and question. And this comes with a workbook. I am someone who loves to create. I am a creator to the core. I'm an artist. I'm a singer. I've created music. I've created paintings. I've created courses. I've created so much in my life, and I'm so grateful. This masterclass comes with a little workbook, and that is free as well. So if you are interested, all you have to do is go to the link in my bio and click on it, and it'll give you all the information on how you can join, the Zoom link, and it'll also give you the download for the free workbook. So I hope that I will see you there. It's really going to be amazing. And like I said, there will be no replay for this, just to encourage you to show up live and be present with me. Have the courage to do it and be seen. One of the most powerful things for me was to join this 12-step program and to become sober and to feel so awkward in front of people and be seen and be like, oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me. And can I just be? Am I enough? Like, what if I say something? What if I say the wrong thing? Just being seen. I mean, there are so many people who won't even turn on their video on a Zoom meeting because they're so afraid to be seen. Let's heal this. Let's heal this. Let's heal this together. So I encourage you to be there. And with that, I am going to jump off. Love you lots. How do we get off this?